Hey there everyone, it's Haz here, and today I have the pleasure of introducing an upcoming roguelite action game that it very much seems I discovered somewhat late, but since it is releasing in just a month on October 19th, it's even more exciting, and it is called Endless Dungeon. You might be familiar with the developers of the game since they're also the creators of the famous Endless series, including Endless Legend or Endless Space, 4X games, but what not everyone might know is that Endless Dungeon isn't exactly a completely new idea, but looks to be rather a sequel of their previous title, Dungeon of the Endless. So Endless Dungeon is a roguelite tactical action game that I would describe more like a hero/tower defense game who are familiar with the genre, where a couple of heroes are stuck on an abandoned space station, and the plot is to find out what's happening on the station while exploring and fighting through countless waves of monsters as you dive deeper and deeper to the core. Unlike in most defense games, the objective here isn't static and is mixed together with roguelite elements where you have to escort a cute crystal bot who can hack into the several systems of the station, allowing you to progress. But the catch is that you don't know the directions, and each room you open up could hold either valuable resources or the path to the next level, or even nests of alien creatures or hostile robots wanting to kill you. The room-based structure is what offers the tactical element to the game, as your resources you can spend for hero or tower upgrades are tied to opening doors, but since each door can either hold danger or even just a new path or shortcut for monsters to avoid your carefully built defenses, you have to plan ahead where you wish to build your turrets and which doors you want to open to either squeeze out a little bit more materials for upgrading or researching something new. Endless Dungeon offers you multiple ways to play the game. One of it is definitely a focus on turrets and tower defense. During your attempts, you can research multiple types of towers, from flamethrowers to acid spitters, buff towers to increase your hero damage, or even repair towers that keep your other turrets alive in a whole room. Each of these turrets can be upgraded either by the aforementioned research, which is another bonus monster wave you have to tackle, but for the reward of being able to unlock new types of towers or upgrade an existing one in your current attempt. Turrets can also level up into upgraded forms if they kill enough enemies, so it's also important to plan and place them properly for better efficiency, since upgraded turrets are a lot more powerful and your resources are also better spent that way. Finally, you can also upgrade and build your controlled hero characters to have more of the wit attribute, which determines how effective you are at repairing turrets or boosting them, that you can do by melee attacking your turrets for extra damage, allowing you to specialize around towers more than your own hero. Now, since I mentioned heroes, let's talk about the hero defense portion of the game. The other major part of Endless Dungeon is of course your hero characters. You can choose from several different characters that you can unlock by playing the game. Currently, they have revealed 6 of them so far. So each hero starts with a specific weapon, a passive skill and an active skill, and an ultimate you can use throughout your runs, and each of them are somewhat specialized around different aspects of the game. They're DPS, tank or healer characters, or even supports that will be available in the full release. For instance, Zed is specialized around heavy weaponry, so they can only use heavy weapons, and her abilities are focused around killing with shooting powerful sonic waves or weakening nearby monsters, and her passive increases your damage with each monster you kill. On the other side of the spectrum is Shroom, who's a healer character, and they generate so-called souls for every 10 monsters they kill, and they can spend these souls to heal other members of the team, but Shroom can only use normal weight weapons. Both characters start with their own base builds, but in-game, just like you can upgrade your turrets, you can also spend your food resources to further specialize your characters in certain ways for either more damage, defense, or utility, allowing you to customize them as you will. I also mentioned both heavy and normal weapons, where Endless Dungeon features a pretty robust arsenal of weapons in the game. I've seen 17 so far that all play very differently with unique shooting mechanics and features that I've been pretty happy with, honestly. In solo, you can seamlessly switch between characters as you play and give commands to defend specific rooms or follow you, and in the online co-op mode of the game, you can team up with other players to control their own heroes and adventure through the space station together, making this a fantastic game to play with friends. Now, I mentioned this is a roguelite title, which means there is a progression system, so let's talk about it. While your turret upgrades, hero upgrades, and weapons will be lost between your runs, as you gather more permanent resources, progress the story, and complete challenges, you will be able to upgrade your heroes and even the weapons you can find through the workshop. Currently, you can unlock and place 3 distinct upgrades for your heroes to boost stats you like to use with them or make their abilities more powerful. Or you can spend your points to level up weapons you can find by giving them bonus stats that aren't very exciting for the moment, as they are mostly bonus damage or range stats, but still opens up cool possibilities for the future. Additionally, there are other permanent upgrades for your maps to unlock more collectibles, increase the amount of resources you gain, or even unlock having 3 characters on the map, but at the cost of more challenging difficulty. Admittedly, the progression part of Endless Dungeon seems a bit bare bones at the moment, as I'm personally not a big fan of basic damage stats or having more health, etc. Hopefully the developers will improve these after the launch of the game, but for the moment the gameplay is so much fun that as long as eventually these will be updated, I'm fine with it. So with all of that introduced, we can talk a bit more about my first impressions of the game, and playing the closed beta for a good 6 hours, I can say I'm having quite a lot of fun so far. I will start with the parts I really enjoy and then the one part I feel is a bit of a lackluster. The visuals, the atmosphere, and the sound design all feel really good, and I especially adore the cartoonish art style of both the dialogues and the storytelling, so the presentation is top notch in my book, and it seems to have enough story and lore unlocks through various notes and dialogues in the hub you keep unlocking, that if you're a lore nerd, then there's certainly a lot to unlock for both the space station and the different characters you can unlock. As a fan of both the roguelite and tactical genre, Endless Dungeon also hits the right spots as the map exploration and layout is really satisfying, with each room having some sort of randomized secret, whether it is the weapons or upgrade stations or even the different types of monsters, and despite the variety of possible rewards not being that many, the availability of resources or the different kinds of upgrades you can get are so important or useful for a successful run that it never really gets boring and keeps being exciting. The tactical parts of the game are also, I would say, just right for the moment as someone who's just getting into the game. The choices you make are all very important. Each room you open up is a major choice in whether you want more rewards or a potentially more secure hallway to defend your bot, and both with your weapons or turrets you have to carefully plan what to use as the different kinds of enemies have different elemental strengths and weaknesses, so which element you will use will be crucial, which is tied to what I mentioned earlier, that each unlock is exciting and useful. The difficulty is also fortunately very entertaining. It doesn't seem to be too hard or too easy, and the balance seems to be just right that keeps presenting new challenges the deeper you go towards the core, as you unlock more enemy types from robots, monsters, or aliens, with each of them having different elemental weaknesses and also special elite units that spawn that significantly make the game harder by either having electric monsters disable your turrets, artillery monsters shooting from out of range, or heavy robots dealing lots of damage to your heroes. So all in all, in my experience so far, there's enough monster variety and challenge to constantly keep me on my toes. For players who are looking for a lighter challenge, the developers also included an easy mode to help you enjoy the game, so no need to be afraid of it being too hard, and you can enjoy a casual journey through the space station. Now, the one part of Endless Dungeon I'm not particularly happy about is frankly the progression. The way you unlock new things, the challenges you have to do to unlock further hero talent slots and such are really fun. They're challenges you have to complete your runs with, and those are really satisfying to try for. The problem lies with the extremely lackluster choices for upgrades, at least in the closed beta, and while yes, unlocking them is fun, the progression itself isn't, as getting plus 10% more money or plus 20% defense or health on heroes and plus 2 meters on your guns aren't fun options. They are the most basic and boring options usually in games, and I'd much prefer to see more mechanical upgrades and options that change the way a hero's skill works, for instance, or change the shooting of a gun to be shorter range but much faster, or the opposite. So all in all, Endless Dungeon has a very strong core build of really fun tactical and roguelike gameplay that is very entertaining to get into, learn, and master as you go through the different levels and stages of the game. But the question is, with the relatively stale options in progression, how long will the base gameplay remain entertaining, since a large portion of fun in roguelite games is about the progression and unlocking new things as you go through the game and unlock harder and harder challenges, which we will have to see on the full launch of the game on October 19th. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you're still listening to the video, that is my introduction and preview of Endless Dungeon, a tactical roguelite action game releasing soon. And like I said, it is a very solid title that I'm having quite a lot of fun with currently, so if you like tactical and roguelite games, definitely keep an eye out for it, especially if you have friends you love to play these types of games with, as frankly there's not a lot that offers you a perfect co-op option, and that's one of the main selling points of Endless Dungeon in my opinion. Hope this video helped you get a good look at the game. If so, like and subscribe for more Endless Dungeon and other video games coverage. But that's a wrap, and I'll see you all the next time.